All right, everyone. Hello and welcome into day 2 of the Minnesota Vikings offseason. Super Wild Card weekend is in the rearview mirror. That is behind us. So is the Vikings 2022 season. We're looking ahead to the future, to 2023 today, beginning with our first video of our new playlist. So every year when the Viking season ends, I create a new playlist. So this is the first video for the season of 2023. You can click through the channel, check out previous seasons and all of my takes regarding those. But welcome to the first one for 2023, a brand new playlist, and I hope to fill this up with more than 28 videos, which was the final tally for last season. So we're going to shoot for a couple hundred, I think, for this season for 2023/24, and we're going to begin with an open letter to the Vikings front office and ownership. And also, real quick, just an aside, it's day 2 of the offseason. Why is Ed Donatel still employed? I mean, come on, let's go. I mean, the Browns have already fired Joe Woods and hired Jim Schwartz. They have a new defensive coordinator. I understand it's not going to happen in a week because you got to do interviews and stuff, but at least start the process by getting rid of the dead weight. I mean, they do have a press conference scheduled for tomorrow. It will be interesting to see what they have to say. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell will be in front of reporters. I'll probably do a reaction video to that press conference after it is done. So look forward to that tomorrow. But ahead of that, I would like to address front office ownership of the Minnesota Vikings with a message, with a plea, with just a sort of a piece of advice, if you will, for lack of a better term. And that is, it's time to be aggressive. It is time to do some outside the box thinking. It's time to make some radical decisions. It is time to start doing things that you may have some adverse reaction to if you were to have done them previously, because I keep looking back at this season, the previous season under Mike Zimmer, the season before that under Mike Zimmer, and it feels like we're trying to do different things with just the same pieces over and over again. It's like taking one of those Lego creator sets that don't really come with a set, form of instructions. Like, it's supposed to be this thing, the pieces are designed to do this, don't make anything else. It feels like we keep going with the creator set, which gives you all sorts of creativity, and we just can't do any better than what we've done so far. I think it's time to let's go crazy. I'm not saying we need to jump into the world of teams that say, fuck them picks, sacrifice your whole future, and just go bananas, because we simply don't have the personnel to do that, and it's going to take more than one offseason to do this. But I'm thinking that we need to stop doing things the Vikings way, and we need to start thinking just outside the box in general. And so what do I mean by all this? Well, obviously, I think it's clear as day that Minnesota Vikings ownership might have their thumb on the scale a little bit too much when it comes to personnel decisions. And I think we saw a lot of that this previous offseason with both the hiring of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the hiring of Kevin O'Connell, and the fact that the roster was basically just run back from the previous season, because it seemed like everybody thought that, okay, it's clearly Mike Zimmer and his coaching staff was the problem. This is a talented team. We just need different leaders, different coaches in place, and we'll be fine. For the most part, I think that they're probably going to convince themselves that they were right about that, because what resulted was a 13-4 season. They're not going to look at the broader picture and, kind of step back and look at this with a wider lens and realize there was a hell of a lot of luck that went into getting those 13 wins. I think they're going to feel confident in themselves that they made the right decision, even though I would argue it was the wrong one, because at the end of the day, the season ended in a playoff game where you just simply could not keep up with an opposing offense because your defensive players were too old and too slow. I think the Wilfs probably put their thumb on the scale in a sense that they were adamant about keeping a very fan favorite talent on this roster for this season, in particular the one that just ended. So Adam Thielen, Harrison Smith, Eric Kendricks, Dalvin Cook, they were probably like, look, guys, we understand you're new, but we want you to take what we have already put together and we want you to do better things with it. I think that was the message that they were given, if I could be honest. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just sort of me giving you an outsider's perspective on how I feel things have transpired now that we have one whole season/year of Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell at the helm. I really do think that that's what happened. And I think that they need to get away from that. I think owners should be seen, not heard. Sign the checks, leave the football decisions to the guys that you hire to do so, and things will probably go well for you. So I think the Wilfs need to butt out, stop trying to make your your decision makers hang on to talent that is clearly on the decline, because it just is. I don't care if they're fan favorites. I don't care if they're going to sell jerseys. I don't care if they're going to sell tickets. I understand that as owners, as billionaires, as people that are looking at your P&L and your profit margins, those are the things that take your priority. They can say all they want that they want to compete for championships. They want to compete for revenue. Let's be clear about that. This is a business. Entertainment is a business. That is all coming first and foremost. If they win championships, I think from an owner's perspective, that's bonus points, for them. That's a bonus round. So I think the Wilfs need to butt out, and I think that the roster control needs to really go to Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell. If they want to work as a tandem, by all means do it. But we need to make some serious changes that we were apprehensive to make last offseason, and it needs to be for the best. It's going to, as I said last year and even the year before, when I did a video midway through the 2020 season where I started talking about trading veterans while they were still, you could still get a return for them. I was like, it's going to be hard to get rid of Adam Thielen. It's going to be hard to get rid of Harrison Smith because they're fan favorites, and I can relate to that. Harrison Smith is one of the jerseys that I have hanging in my closet over there. It's one of the newer ones that I've purchased in between. I think it was a couple years ago I bought that, and the last one I had bought previously before it was Adrian Peterson, way back in like 2008, 2009, I want to say. So I get the fact that you don't want to let go of players because they've been here for a while and they have great stories and they're really good on the field and you want to keep them around. But it's time. We have to get younger. We have to get faster. We have to be more aggressive in the draft, because last year's draft class, the first one under Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, really didn't do a whole lot for us. I mean, I understand you can't really knock them for the Lewis Cine pick because he got injured and missed most of the season, although Kyle Hamilton was right there. And he had a big play in the wild card round against the Bengals. Ultimately, the Ravens didn't win, but that's a completely different story for different reasons on a different day. They've got to do a lot better in the draft, especially on defense. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why that this defense, all of the problems came to fruition against the Giants, is because we just haven't drafted well outside of maybe a bunch of great picks in 2015. I mean, think about it. Who on this roster? I mean, Andrew Booth barely played. I think he was hurt most of the year. The Jeff Gladney pick was a bust for a multitude of different reasons. And then, we can't really get any more good linebackers. Name one that we've drafted after Eric Kendricks that you're a big fan of. A lot of people seem to be into Brian Asamoah. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And for good reason, because he looks like he's really into it. But yeah, I mean, you got to get better at the draft. And I think that we got to do a lot less trading down. Stop being so freaking cute about it and just execute at the position that you're currently at. And dare I say, trade up, especially in the first round this year. This is the one you're going to want to do it, because there is a big talent drop off after the first 15 or so picks. And the Vikings currently sit at 24. If you want a blue chip first round player this year, you're going to have to move up. And I think that they should start considering that, whether it be for, a quarterback or a defensive player. They're probably pigeonholed into going defense this year in the draft, but they need to make a splash. They need to make splashes in free agency, in the draft. Start thinking big. Start thinking big picture, because we're just never going to win a Super Bowl, much less get to the NFC Championship, if we keep trying the same things over and over. And, I will give them credit. They tried to switch to a 3-4 defense. It clearly didn't work. They clearly didn't have the personnel for it. So, there's something to be said. At least they tried something new in that regard. But we need to apply that across the board. Apply this thinking that we need to adjust. We need to make changes. We need to start thinking about how to win a Super Bowl in a way that we haven't tried before, because I think that's ultimately where this franchise is at. So that is my open letter to begin the offseason for the front office and ownership of the Minnesota Vikings. Be aggressive. Don't be afraid to take chances. At least we, the fans, will see that you give a shit and you're actually trying, and the repercussions if you fail won't be as bad, because we'll be like, okay, they tried that. I respect it. It didn't work out. Let's go back to the drawing board. And I think everything will be okay. Just I don't think that we're just going to empty the stadium unless that they absolutely refuse. If they just run this back another time, I think fans might start voting with their wallet then if we go 8-8 because they didn't do anything. So that's going to do it for this video today. I will see you tomorrow after the press conference. Thank you for watching. Have a good one.